Welcome to John and Dave TV. I'm John.
And I'm Dave. This show is to bring the community back together. We're going through a very hard time right now with everything, the self-isolation and everything else. And we thought maybe we should bring new skills or new hobbies to you in your home that you're able to do with us.
So make sure you join us on every episode where you can learn something new every time to try and help get you through this whole staying at home situation.
Today on a Dave and John show.
It's the John and Dave show.
Was the change. The end of March hit. I had studio shows planned. We had sports coverage planned. We had lots of stuff for you guys to do, to be out and bringing our teams into the community. And then all of a sudden, just we're going to shut everything down. And that changed everything. We stopped having people in the studio.
Welcome to the Dave and John show.
You mean the John and Dave show?
Yeah, well, you know, we're trying not to do this scripted, and it sounds scripted, but this was a complete slip up, and when I said it, I realized it and started laughing. Anyways, welcome to the show. Finally, you know, things are opening up. We're allowed going places, and guess where we are today? We're back in the studio after this long break of just being over the internet.
Exactly. No doorbells ringing at the house. Nobody walking in going, oh, he's on TV.
Yeah, or the kids screaming in. Actually, what people don't realize from home is that every single show we had so far that we taped while I was at home, I had my sons walk into the room on every single show. But normally we're kind of off the camera and I'm trying to do the shush, shush, and be quiet. But if you listen well, you'll hear the door open.
On one of them, you hear my doorbell go on the one.
That's right.
And then Dave having computer troubles the last, 3 episodes?
That's why we're happy to be back in the studio.
It was almost the John show for our other.
10th show. What an adventure this has been. You know, we started with an idea on a volunteer show for the, we were talking about volunteering with our producer Tiana on the coping during, it wasn't coping, what's the name of that show there? Shoot, now I don't remember it.
Coping during COVID?
It's a show that Trevor Rowley put on every single week. Local Impact. There you go.
Where did that come from?
Local Impact, and then we got an interview for that show, and during the interview, or right after the interview, Tiana started talking to us, saying, "Why? We had a good chemistry. Why did we put a show together?" And Here we are. You know, the next week we're filming.
Yeah.
And what a bunch of guests we had.
Oh yeah, we've had a lot of local businesses here that don't get the recognition that they should. So, and with this unprecedented time, what a better way to get them out there to the public so they can know more about them.
Correct. And you know what I was thinking also before thinking about this show and doing the show today, you know, what show kind of marked kind of our John and Dave TV,
our journey.
Kind of like what show was like kind of like wow, and you know I can't pinpoint one show. Every single one of these shows brought something interesting, something new.
They've all been different. That's
exactly.
What's been good.
It's been a really
all
good
over the
ride.
map. We went from a school teacher to a cooking class. We did training and fitness. Yeah. We've done boxing. Like you couldn't have a vast majority better than our show. I'm telling you.
No, it's been an interesting ride.
So what do we got for today?
Today, you know, we're going to change this up a bit. We're going to do a bit different. You know, on our Facebook page, we get a lot of comments from people asking us questions. You know, how much do we get paid to do this? You know,
just as much as you do.
and how do we get into this? So I thought for our 10th anniversary show, how about we make a show about us and about us volunteering?
Mm-hmm.
And
because that's what it started at.
Yeah, that's why I'm here, because I started volunteering.
Exactly.
And I thought, what a better way to have this discussion than just to bring one of the producers we work with every single time we're in here.
Exactly.
Or one of the 2 producers we work with every single. There's another one, but I brought one of them on today.
Yeah.
And Trevor Rowley, welcome to our show.
Thanks for having me, guys. I think I drew the short straw, but that's okay. Someone's got to cut the show.
We had
Someone's
to stick you way over there today.
Tiana, you're in the back. You're cutting the show. It's all good. One of us has got to be doing it. If it wasn't me, you'd be here, and I know you probably wouldn't want to.
But she's still a valuable member of our show.
Yes, yes. Without her, I don't know.
Without
really
her, we wouldn't have a show.
We wouldn't have
this show.
Yeah.
She had to convince you probably.
Yeah, a little bit. Not too much. It was pretty much Dave calling me 3 times a day for the last couple of days.
Yeah. You know, in this, what's interesting, this set that we're on right now got actually designed over a phone call in a quick conversation, and we just all assembled this in a matter of half an hour of volunteers. And we also have volunteers in the studio now behind cameras. Normally it's us kind of operating everything. And today here we have 2 volunteers. We're kind of back to normal, sort of. It's nice to have other faces.
It's as close to normal that we've had in a long time. And that was one of the big things. That's kind of what started. That's what brought you guys, what brought your show to life, was the change. The end of March hit. I had studio shows planned. We had sports coverage planned. We had lots of stuff for you guys to do, to be out and bringing our teams into the community. And then all of a sudden, we're going to shut everything down. And that changed everything. We stopped having people in the studio. Like you mentioned before, I started doing the community impact, local impact, just talking about all the COVID stuff and everything that was changing. And it was happening so fast. I was doing a new show every day, and the information was just changing so rapidly. But the biggest thing for us, the way that it was impacting our volunteers, was the fact we couldn't have you guys in the building anymore. No one could go anywhere. Jobs were starting to shut down. It got real quiet here. Got really quiet in the studio.
Yeah, especially without John and I. That just kind of overtakes the place and doesn't
Well, you know
stop
me,
talking.
I'm a shy kind of guy. I don't like to be in the
John's
forefront.
John's not out there. If you go to his Facebook page, you'll realize he's a very shy person. Not accurate at all. But
the different part was too is we had to learn to do everything at home. Now I have all this equipment that I'm not even using right now because we're back in here.
Yeah,
that's true. Yeah. Had to learn how to use Skype. I've never actually did conference calls on Skype before, and you know, every single week was kind of a new lesson. And thank God Tiana was there, and she used a lot of it because she actually taught us a lot about how to use the equipment and how to get going. Yeah. And the studio supplied us with equipment, so we actually had to do a porch pickup of equipment for our show.
Darn, that
they
provide lights and
mics.
yeah. This is the note. Making a note right now. John will return.
Yeah, I'm gonna lose my nice little big microphone, little topper there.
But we had to work with what we had, right? And I mean, it was all over the province. Not even here. Not even here. There are places all over Ontario, YourTVs, that had volunteers that bent over backwards to produce shows weekly, just like you guys were doing. I know many. I don't even want to name them because they'll get upset if I don't name them. But pretty much everywhere in the province, volunteers were bending over backwards to do it. Now, not all volunteers could do that. Some of them had to still work. Some of them were, you know, part of that essential core that couldn't, you know, that had to work even more hours. Their days change. You know, you just maybe not enough time because you're stuck at home. You have to watch the kids. The schools are closed, what have you, right? But for the guys that were able to do stuff, we're super appreciative of you guys to be able to come together and make that show happen. Talking about COVID, been talking about COVID for a long time. Part of the volunteering, it's nice to have you guys still involved, and I can't wait till the restrictions are less and less. I mean, today it's nice because we have camera ops in the studio. We're able to be back together, that conversation, the camaraderie. It's nice. You can have that over an online conversation, but it's definitely not the same. And I've done tons of interviews over the last couple of months, and there's nothing like interviewing a person in person, face to face. My first interview was a few weeks ago. The farmers market here in Pembroke opened, and it was my first in person, you know, 6 feet apart, got the mic stand set up. Like, you stand there, I'll stand here. It felt so good to talk to someone face to face instead of on a phone. I mean, all my conversations I had with CNL and SRB Technologies and stuff, we did all those interviews, and we did, you know, with local communities and local community business owners that were just talking about how they were impacted, and you know, people, you know, extraordinary things. It's an extraordinary event, and I think people, you know, were doing things, you know, of great. I can't even think of the word. Like, it's so monumental that what some of the people did. Like, John, you pulled the short straw. You weren't able to be on that essential list.
No, exactly.
And you were gone for a while, and that's hard on everybody.
Exactly.
But through the John and Dave show,
advantages come from it too, because with me having to close my business for those 3 months, I had to reinvent, okay, what am I going to do? What am I going to do with my business when it opens back up again? And on top of that, what am I doing when I'm at home? Because I can't shoot, Because for those who don't know, I do photography, and I can't shoot. I can't do it outside. I can be in the studio but by myself editing. But what am I editing? I'm not shooting anything. So I had to reinvent. And so when Dave and I got together talking about this, it's like, this is something that we can probably have some fun with and learn a new trade at the same time, because I had to learn how to use Skype. I haven't used Skype in I don't know how long. So I had to learn how to use Skype. And it got me reacquainted with a lot of other business owners in town to see, hey, I'm not the only one going through this. We all are. And to bring them in on this, I think, was the main thing. And I've learned a lot from doing this show. And I just see me learning more and more, because I get a lot of, I've actually had, it used to be me fighting online, going to try and find people, hey, would you like to come and do our show? But nobody had heard of it at the time. Yep. So this was a way for me not only to get acquainted, now I'm actually getting 2 or 3 people actually contact me saying, hey, how can I be a guest on your show?
Yeah.
So,
which is great too.
It's a slow process. Establishing anything from the ground up is a slow process, but once you get it there and you keep doing it, and for me, as an employee, as one of the producers between Tiana and I, when we got, when you have hardworking hosts, and I mean, we produce multiple shows out of the studio, not only with our Coach Go News stuff, but Valley Reach and The Bandwagon, which is our sports show. Elijah McEwen with the city hosts that, and Philip Hoffman, they come in and they do their stuff. Having those people that invest all that time, and people, like you said at the beginning, how much do you get paid, right? That's the running joke. If you're doing a show, how much do you get paid, and where do the royalties go, and where does the money come from? The money doesn't. There is no. It's all volunteer. There's the 2 of us in the office that we do what we can to help people come in here to facilitate, being a part of a family, of a group, an organization. Just like any other volunteer organization, you donate your time and you get a different avenue. You're a photographer. You're like hobby, foreign military, finding wherever work can be. If it's a squeaky wheel, it's getting oil, and Dave's going to be there to do it. Like it's your drive to learning new things is, it's all over the place and it's evident everywhere. But the volunteers, they come in, they get trained, and if you just want to do camera, that's all you do. You guys started out doing both of those. You guys did camera together, and now you guys are hosting a show. And do you have any hosting experience at all?
No, I've actually never.
Exactly.
Unless you consider my Facebook Lives and my.
You started that. Kidding. You started those. You started those at the same time. I count that this experience has helped you with Facebook Lives.
That's in last year, not last year. Maybe 6 months ago, before the quarantine started and everything else, we were talking about maybe producing a show. We're talking about producing
back and forth,
a food show at a time.
I remember that.
And going and see different restaurants and that type of stuff. And then the producer Tiana asked us, well, who will host it? And I said, oh, I won't host it. We got to find someone else, because I won't get in front of the camera. And look where we are now. We got kind of thrown that option, and everything about volunteering here has been about learning, and then learning a new skill, taking it, and then running with it. It started with my first show ever with YourTV was inside this studio, sitting at this camera right here that's pointing me right now, and filming the In Conversation with Jamie Bramberger. And that was my first ever experience. And then, so I go from that to the second production I'm doing, and I'm doing hockey at the PMC, and they put me on the soundboard. I've never seen a soundboard. I didn't even know what the buttons did and all that. And then they told me, "Don't worry, you'll do great. It's awesome. It's one of the easier tasks. You don't have a lot to do." I'll tell you right now, there was a lot of muted moments on that show because I had no clue what I was doing. But you know what?
And now it's come full circle, because look who's doing your camera now.
Yeah, my daughter's on camera right now.
And John, I want to get into yours a little bit of how you got involved too, but just to kind of add, we have volunteers that span a huge margin. We have like high school, elementary school, high school,
middle school.
You got middle school. You have retired veterans. Waving. Nice, Rusty. I see you, Rusty. then you have local business owners. You have teenagers. We have had people volunteer throughout, years and years. Elijah McEwen, going to drop his name because he's been here for a long time. He produced a show with Tiana called Teen Central. That was back in 2013, I think. Tiana will correct me and add a graphic at the bottom, maybe if I'm wrong. It was 2012, something like that. It was really, really high school Fellows high school student, helps produce this show. There was a couple other guys. Elijah was one of them. There was a huge group. At one point, there was like 12 high school students in here at a time, and I couldn't really keep track. Elijah's just the guy that's stuck around the longest. He now works for the city and produces a sports show. He's produced multiple shows. He did a Live Between Commercials show. It was produced by teenagers, high school students on their own, and then they've all gone to school and come back and worked, and they're still doing stuff. You have Jamie Bramberger, well-established name in the Pembroke and Renfrew County community. He is a former broadcaster working for Algonquin and still comes in and does his stuff. We just had we did an in conversation with Steve Paikin the other day. That's just Steve's been on the show a number of times, but that span, anyone can do this. If you think, that's not for me, or not even that, but it's I'm not qualified to do that. No qualifications is like a prerequisite, because if you don't know anything, then we can teach you, and we'll teach you the right way to do things. And you meet people, you meet businesses. If we used to do councils. Unfortunately, they have shifted to doing them on their own, which is fine. But we used to be a part of the politics. We do the studio shows. We do your types of shows, where you're coming in here to do camera. You may not say anything because they're not allowed to talk. but we know they're there. They are here. But you get to be in the room with these people. And even as a producer, my background is I've been volunteering. I was around in the Renfrew area when it was YourTV down there. It was something else then, but it was the YourTV office in Renfrew in 2006. I was introduced through a high school co-op. Didn't even know it existed. I said I wanted to do something in film, TV, cameras, something. And the teacher slaps down this piece of paper and says, "There's this YourTV in Renfrew. They take co-ops." And so I started. And then I went from there. I did volunteering, hockey. Your firsts were my firsts as well.
Correct. Yeah.
And I had no experience whatsoever. I was a high school student. I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. And then Tiana was my producer at that time, so I was volunteering with her. Now I work with her, so it's a nice come full circle, right? And then I went to school, and I come back, and I was able to secure a job here in Pembroke, as a producer, helping volunteers, like yourself, that have come in knowing nothing and being able to kind of maybe, you're grasping, you're learning, even though you might maybe, you never stop learning.
No, you never do.
But once you have your career, you kind of you settle into that and you go and you run with it, right? But here you can be something else and come in and have another set of skills that you can pick up even if you didn't know. And like anybody who's ever wanted to be involved in TV, even behind the scenes, you don't have to be on camera. These guys were just crazy enough to do it themselves.
They had to beg us to get on camera, I'm telling you.
You don't have to be on camera. This is just one example. But that's an option. Corey Nagora came in. He came to me, and he was doing an online show.
Yeah, I remember seeing his
very
Facebook
He
show.
likes lots of politics.
And I sent him an email one day, and I said, "You could come to the studio and do this, and I can show you how to do this. We have a teleprompter, we have the lighting, we have the studio set." And he came in, and we produced that show for weeks. And he had no TV experience whatsoever, but he was a natural.
Yeah, he did
Did
great.
he know that? Not really. Not until I told him, and then he was just like, "Oh, okay, I'm good at
And
this."
it just came naturally.
Yeah, exactly.
But you even said, like, you usually go in and you get a career and you settle into that, and that's it. And I think that's what brought me into here more often, because this was out of my comfort zone. I'm a still photographer. I'm used to a still camera, shooting. Give me a still camera, I can do anything you want me to with it. Throw these little guys at me, and it was a different culture change altogether, because it's a totally different atmosphere. Because now you're like, okay, framing's about the same, but you got to learn. You're doing a lot more with zooming. The functions of the camera are a lot different. So I had to learn a lot how to set those darn things up too. And then just as I was getting good at setting those cameras up, you guys go ahead and change the cameras on me and get newer cameras. So now I gotta learn how to do that again.
Technology is great, but it changes all the time. And that's another thing is our volunteers, equipment changes. You get trained on it. It gets, and the different aspects. You can come in, and if you like audio, we have a volunteer in the Renfrew area who loves audio. You put him on camera, he's not happy. He'll do it, but he's not. He's like, I want audio. He loves audio, so that's what he gets to do.
And that's the same with me. I've been offered many times, you want to come in the truck and do the audio? And I'm like, you know what? I'm comfortable on the camera. That's my thing.
And that's the one thing that you've wanted to focus on.
Exactly.
When I was in school, corner camera at the PMC was my That was my baby. I wanted it. If someone took that camera from me, I went to Tiana and I was upset.
Exactly.
And then I was like, you need to remove this person. No. I was totally fine. I would have done anything.
That's funny because on certain productions,
We
there's
talking about
certain
him?
spots I like to be in. That's true. There's certain cameras
Yeah,
I like
yeah,
being on,
yeah.
and that's just because I don't know. You get comfortable with
Yeah.
your task on that camera, and then someone comes in your territory. You're kind of like that
Yeah.
dog. You want to make your own zone and stay away from my zone.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the
Yep.
thing. Like with me, I came from a sports-oriented family, so that worked. Like when my first camera work for YourTV was council, but I think that helped me learn the camera itself, how to
Yeah.
use the function of the
Yeah.
camera, because it wasn't a fast action. You're learning the how to hook it up, how to shoot, and then listening in to the director on your headphones to so know what shot she wants.
Yep.
Once you get more comfortable with that, then you have Fellows football come out. So I was able to do a camera on there. We did a baseball, I think it was 2 years ago in Mixburg there. We did the
Yep,
baseball
yep,
finals or
Mixburg
something
Twins,
like that.
yeah.
So I got to do one of those cameras. We did, I think with Rusty, him and I, we once or twice did the curling.
Yep.
So it started getting me more familiar with more moving stuff. And then for about 4 years, I was the head photographer for the Pembroke Lumber Kings. So I kept telling Tiana, I can't do camera. I'm there already for the team doing my still stuff.
Yeah.
But ownership changed over, things happened, and I told her, okay, I'm available if you want. And it just happened that the one guy that does the main camera was going back to college.
Right.
So she's like, well, why don't we stick you up there and you can do that one? I said, I'd be
Yep.
comfortable
Yeah, I
doing that.
forgot.
And I've been
John
doing it
is
for
the main camera.
That's
for
true,
this
So I've been
yeah.
doing
Yeah.
the main camera for that for what, a year and a half now until this whole shutdown happened.
Oh man, yeah,
So,
exactly, yeah. That's
but,
one thing we're hoping for is hockey will be back. And I don't know what
Exactly.
time you're watching this. Maybe re-airing multiple times. Hockey could be on. Let's cross our fingers
Cross
that
our
it's
fingers.
on. If it's on, enjoy it. If it's not,
Exactly.
then keep your fingers crossed.
But
hopefully
you won't
comes
get it
back.
from
Ew.
here probably until at least September, October,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
they shut the whole playoffs down, everything. But
Yeah.
that helped me get my feet wet, I guess you can say. Because I've known you for years through
Oh, well,
Sean and things
media
like that.
events and stuff like. Well, we see you at the. I'm usually at the
Exactly, right, different
showcase
events
and
and that.
see you at the showcase for
That's right.
years.
And now you're
it's-
my boss. So
Well,
We're a
boss.
team here. That's the one thing. Your team
Tiana's
is a
the
team.
boss.
And that's
We know
and that's
that.
exactly why I said boss, and I've never felt coming on the production here that
It's a
there's
family.
someone bossing us around or
No.
telling us what it's always and our producers are great. They always ask us what's our input, like, oh, what should we be doing with this? What should we do? Or do you think this is a good idea? They're always asking.
But it's
us for
done
our
in a
own
certain
advice
way
and-
with that mutual respect that they know that, yes, they're asking our input, but when it comes down, it's their choice. They have to make the final decision, and we respect that because you guys are the ones that are going to get it come on you if it does wrong.
Yeah,
So we have that respect, but you guys don't treat us like, oh, you're just a volunteer. You just do what you're told. You give us our input, you give us our little thing, and then sometimes, I know camera angles wise, there are times where I just sort of get in something, oh yeah, keep that there, that's perfect. But then there's other times I'll go to, no, John, I already got that, go somewhere else. And it's like, oh, okay. So, I mean,
And camera's a totally different thing too.
Exactly.
It's you think when you're asked of a shot and it's not right, you get discouraged. There's no discouraged because there's no right or wrong shot. There's just the framing. We're looking at the framing. We're there as the double check.
Exactly.
We want you there. We need you on that camera. We need you to be the body inside. And a lot of the times when we're at events, the people on the cameras are the ones. They're the face of us in the event.
Exactly.
Like, I don't know how many times I've had to send, telling a camera guy, go, okay, you got to go talk to the director or
Exactly.
whoever because you got to go ask them to move this
Yes.
right in the middle of the show. And that might, maybe you're not comfortable with that, but at the end of the day, there's that little bit of responsibility
It's
that we
true.
put on you. And some people thrive with that. Some people don't necessarily want to be put in that position,
No,
which is totally fine. And that's the other thing is we try to understand people as much as we can. And we ask a lot of questions because we want to know what you don't like. There's one thing to be, I'll do anything. But then there's like, what if we ask you something that you don't want to do? We don't want to put you in a position where you're going to feel vulnerable and feel that that you're not in the right spot. But we try to do that. We try to ask with everybody. I mean, we do co-ops. We talk to a lot of co-ops, and a lot of the times they, I don't want to throw any co-op teachers under the bus, but sometimes we just get kids because they need a place to go.
Exactly.
And
they just want to credit.
Exactly, and sometimes that doesn't work for us, and sometimes it does. Sometimes you give them a week, and all of a sudden they blossom into this
That's right.
this amazing. All of a sudden it's like they love what they're doing, and some other times
I
it's
think
not so
what it
bad,
also
but
comes down to
either
is
way,
you go to like the major networks. The
Yep.
people that work there, whether they're camera, director, they're all ones that went to school somewhere.
Yep.
They put out applications, they got a job. It's all people from all over the place. This is a community television studio
Yep.
that uses community people
Yep.
to run it.
Yep.
And I think that makes a big difference.
And tapes a community. You know, how many times did I mention, you know, there's different people we're interviewing or we're talking or we're going to see some concerts or some organizations that we're doing interviews for, and that we get to see them and realize what's inside this community. And I think from volunteering, the
Exactly.
people you meet and the people you talk to
That's right.
in this community is just fantastic in those connections that you have. You know, I can go probably anywhere in Pembroke and someone from Pembroke Council sees me, they know exactly who I am because, you know,
right.
that connection we have.
Yeah.
You know, fortunately, you know, we're running out of time, but one thing I want to say is I want to get you in here and start volunteering with us and come participating with us. And I thought maybe one way to do it is to draw up a contest for this week. Well, not really a contest, actually. It's not one where, you know, you have to, you know,
Write in or
nothing like that. You kind of have to, but all you have to do, we'll explain it. Yeah. All you have to do.
Okay, I'll make this straight.
I just want to sit there and listen to him go.
We do not train them on their contest eligibility rules.
Exactly.
We allow them to come up with those. We will help them, but you figure that out yourself.
So for the contest for this week, and you know,
I'm going to even enter something into the prize too. So.
are you?
Yes. I am.
Okay.
Oh,
well,
there you go.
we actually have 2 personal training session with one of our
Past guests.
past guests. So I think
Yeah.
for the 3rd week with
something like
Jody
that,
Sauvé
Jody Sauvé.
with Inner Strength Fitness. So we have 2 personal
Inner strength training and coaching.
Inner Strength Training and Coaching have
get it
donated
right.
us 2 private training sessions.
Yeah.
So all you got to do to get these 2 and whatever John has up his sleeve, you know, the only thing you got to do is get in contact with one of our producers here. You know, find them on the YourTV.tv page and ask to be a volunteer. Ask for information about being a volunteer, and you'll be entered into this contest.
You can even get them through Facebook too. They do
Yep.
have a
Yep.
Facebook page. Or contact one. If you know us and you want to do
Yep.
this, contact
Yeah,
one of us.
contact
We'll
them.
get you in contact with them.
Yep.
And one thing that I give YourTV for all their volunteers is everybody that comes here, I take them right into my studio and I take a headshot so they can use for their business, like for their badges and stuff. So the one who actually when you volunteer here, that's what I'm throwing is you will come to my studio, you'll get a headshot done
Awesome.
for your badges and that at no charge, a $250 value. So if you walk down off the street and you wanted a headshot for your business, that's what it normally would cost you. I'm going to give one of those for free, not just to YourTV, but I'll let you keep the picture for yourself.
And let's give you lots of time here. You have until September to enter. So until the first week
Call
of
of action,
September.
that's right.
You know, whenever the new season of YourTV starts, you have until then to volunteer and start on when the new season starts rolling back out. Because seasons, I don't know if you guys know, it starts back up in September.
Yeah.
We're running out of time. Thank you very much for tuning in this week. Again, another great guest lined up for next week. See you then.